Hey everyone, today in my kitchen I'm going to show you how to make a quick pickle using Daikon radish out of this The Joy of Pickling book. This is actually a book that I picked up and expected it to be a canning book, and it totally is not a canning book. It's pickling, but it's not pickling in the traditional sense that I was thinking of it as making like cucumber pickles and, well, anything else that you would pickle and can, process, and then have on your shelf. This is a book that is really, there's a lot of traditional pickling and fermenting recipes in this book from different parts of the world. And so the one I'm going to do today is called Chinese Fermented Daikon. So we're going to use Daikon radish. And it's going to have fresh ginger, hot peppers, just pickling salt and water, and that's it. And it takes a couple days on your counter to kind of get, I don't want to say sour, but kind of gets to that like really nice fermented stage, just a couple days, and then you can stuff it in your fridge. Now I want to start making some of these recipes more than I have in the past, because I want to be able to utilize different ways of preserving food, and pickling and fermenting is one of them. I have historically only done like a traditional sauerkraut, veggie kraut, kimchi, and things like that. But this is kind of going to branch out and focus on them being a lot more simple, not only in ingredients because there's fewer ingredients, but also the fermenting time is a lot lower. Cabbage can go 4 to 6 weeks. This is literally just a couple days. Of course, I'll link the book in the description if you want to check it out. There are there's 250 recipes in here, so it's like a plethora. Some of them I know right now I would never do, but I am really excited to get some of these going and create sort of a mini series. I'll create a playlist of all the videos that fall under this umbrella. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Notification bell will let you know when I drop a new video, and so you won't miss any that come out. If there's things that you want to see done, throw them in the comments because I read them all, and I really appreciate that. And the last thing I'll say before we get started is that I have several other lined up. That one of them is just a single ingredient, and then another is something that you just sort of make and throw in the fridge. It's good for like a year. And a lot of places all over the world utilize fermenting. And actually the fall is a really high time for fermenting, just with all the things coming in before winter. Get things fermented and preserved and put away and just kind of stuffed for the year. And so this is a way to keep things fresh, sort of more fresh in your fridge, and just pull it out when you want it, whether it's something to use as a relish or a garnish, like a really intense flavor to add to recipes. I think that it's going to be really fun to see how we can use these different pickled or fermented foods. So let's get started on the Chinese fermented daikon. All right, we got all the supplies out to make the Chinese fermented daikon radish. I have 1 pound of daikon radish, obviously. Ginger, we're not going to need much. Now, the recipe, if you recall, calls for 2 small dried hot peppers. Now, the place that I typically shop had dried hot peppers. The only problem was that they only had large bags, and I didn't want to get a large bag just for this and then not really use the other ones. I'm going to use this crushed red pepper, and it's just going to have to be good enough. I know for the recipe you're supposed to leave the peppers whole, but it's just going to have to work like that. My washer's going in the background. If you hear that, I apologize for the background noise. This is 2 cups of water. We're going to dissolve some salt in the water. I have the quart jar that I'm going to put the radish in when we're done, and my canning funnel. This is like one of my favorite kitchen tools. We use it for so many things, to put into large containers like flowers. We literally use it almost daily. One of my favorite things. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and get the radish prepared, the ginger, and get this mixed up. It's going to be super easy.
So with the Daikon radish, it says to chop the radish into quarters or 8/8 lengthwise. But the strip should be about a 1/2 inch thick. So this is neither quarters nor eighths, but I figured the 1/2 inch thickness is probably more important. So that's what I did. And then from here, they want you to cut these into about 1.5 inch pieces. So I'm gonna do about like that. That's a pretty decent sized chunk. So we'll go with that. All right, now it says to just layer everything. I was originally going to try mixing it in a bowl, but it says to layer, so we'll layer. Put a little ginger at the bottom. Do a handful of the radish. And then for each layer, I'm gonna do about 1/2 teaspoon of that pepper. Ginger. Handful of radish. And pepper. We should be good to go. So that's what it looks like right now. So nice with that red pepper in there too. I think it's actually going to maybe make the brine a little bit more red than it might otherwise because of the small flakes. So as soon as I can get this to dissolve, there's still a little bit more. We'll get this poured on over top. All right, got all that salt dissolved. So we're just going to go in, get this filled up until everything is covered. Okay, the one thing I didn't think about extensively, I think enough when I was getting this together, was the fact that this is a regular mouth jar. And a lot of times when I ferment in 1/2 gallon vessels, and I'm able to put either 1/2 pint or even 1/4 pint jars right inside this area, the neck of the jar, and it pushes everything down just perfectly. However, this is not big enough for any of that, and we do have some floating radish. The book actually recommends using a bag filled with air and kind of pushes things down. You know what? I love to check on my ferments like a lot, so I'm not even going to bother with that. I'm actually going to just leave it as is and do my best to kind of put stuff under the water, and I'm going to check on it so frequently that I don't really think it's going to be a big issue. I'm going to go ahead and put my cap on. I like these and I don't do them too tight because they do let out a little bit of air. So we're gonna let this go. This sits for 2 to 3 days and we can just kind of check on things. All right, we're gonna take a look at the fermented daikon. And I have been peeking at this, so I know what it looks like. But I haven't actually seen any fermenting activity starting yet. But as you can see, the brine is a lot darker, and I anticipated that because of the crushed red pepper flakes. And we can also see that there's a bit of space down at the bottom of the jar where I easily could have had more radish. So this recipe called for 1 pound of the radish. If you had 1.5 pounds or maybe 1.33 pounds, you could easily fit it in this jar. If need be, you could even cut chunks a little smaller and they would more easily fit. So that's where we're at today. No fermenting activity. It smells really good. These chunks are really fun. It does have sort of a kimchi smell. There's often daikon radish and things like that. I'm excited to see some of the fermenting start so that we can give it a taste. I'm not going to taste it yet. I'm just going to wait until we see some fermenting activity. This is our 3rd day on the daikon radish, and as you can see, the brine is a lot cloudier, which means that that's going to be a lot more of what we're looking for. And if you look right in the top, there's bubbles, some fermenting activity. That's all good stuff. Okay, I'm gonna try the fermented daikon radish. I just sliced off a little bit. Super pungent, like spice. The spice is really infused into that bite. It's really good.
Like my eyes are watering because it's so spicy. So the spice hit me first. The salt hit me second. So the spice definitely supersedes the salt. But really good. You can still taste the daikon a little bit. It's a pretty muted flavored vegetable. So it's just kind of like a nice, like salty, spicy, crunchy. So there you have it, the fermented daikon radish. And look at how nice and beautiful and cloudy the brine got. That did not happen until day 3, until today. So that is my signal that this is done. This will stay easily in the fridge. I mean, it's in a salt brine. It should stay relatively indefinitely, but several weeks at least. I am excited to see the different ways that we're going to use this. I'm probably going to enjoy just like snacking on this kind of to go with dinner, or lunch, or maybe even on sandwiches or something like that. So if you want to try something new that has spice, it's nice and salty, it's crunchy, this is something super fun that I encourage you to try. I'm excited for my other ones because if this one turned out, it's giving me a lot of like excitement about my other ones coming up. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day and we will see you soon.